Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to change the fuel injectors in this 2002 Camaro SS. This car has been going over 90% injector duty cycle, and I think they claim that it's better not to go above 80-85%. Okay, so here's the injectors we're going to use. They're from DeatschWerks, and they happen to come with all the injector data that you need. And these are 42-pound injectors. Now that's rated, they rate them at 42 pounds with 43 psi of fuel pressure, and I believe these cars run at 58, so it's more like a 52-pound injector. So anyway, before we get started, I'm going to remove the strut tower brace. Okay, so we got the battery unhooked, I got the strut tower brace moved. I don't know if this throttle cable is going to get in the road or not, but I'm going to remove it just to be safe. So we'll just roll this up here. And there's two 10 millimeters holding it on the intake. Okay, so this is sat for a few days, so hopefully the fuel pressure's pretty well gone, but we'll okay, so we'll release any fuel pressure that's in there. It doesn't appear that there is any. Okay, so there's 4 10 millimeter bolts holding this on. There's one there, there, and there. Okay, so I got them 4 bolts out. Now we got to disconnect the injectors. I'm going to see if I can get these off without breaking them. Now to get these injectors disconnected, you got to push up on this metal ring here, and then there's not a lot of room. Okay, so you got to be careful with these too, because after 20 years of heat cycles, they can be a little brittle. So anyway, just go around and do all 8 of those. Okay, so I got all the injectors disconnected. I'm going to disconnect this thing here. I think that's hooked to the fuel rail. I'm not 100% sure though. And this thing here, that's connected. Anyway, I already got the front pried up. Let's see if we can get the back up. The back is up. Okay, so we got her all out. Just be careful taking it out. I don't know if you noticed there, one of the wiring harness for the injector caught. You don't want to pull too hard. If you feel any resistance, then you'll know something's connected. Okay, so next up we want to remove the old injectors. And here's the new ones. We want to try to get them roughly in the same position. That way the connector will connect easily. Now it looks like you just push on either sides of these clips. Should slide right out. Now there probably will be some fuel left in the rail. Now these ones are a little bit longer, but what they do is they go down further into the bore, but the seals are still in the same spot. Okay, so we'll slide the new injector in. Okay, it's roughly in the same spot. They'll move some anyway. I just gotta make sure that's all in there right. Okay, so we'll just go around and do that for all 8. Okay, so I got all 8 of them in. They all went pretty good except for that last one. It was pretty hard to get out, and the O-ring come right off the old injector, so make sure to check them to make sure the O-rings haven't come off, because you don't want two O-rings in there. Now, next thing I got to do is feed it back in there. I'm probably not going to video that because the camera gets in my road. Okay guys, she's all back together. Didn't have any issues with the injector harnesses. I thought they might come out a little short because there's adapters on them new injectors, but everything fit fine. Putting the fuel rail back in, just had to be real careful not to catch on anything. So now the next step would be, well, first I got to put the torque or the strut tower brace back on and hook the battery up. But the next thing you want to do is just cycle the key on and off a few times, build up the pressure in the fuel rails, and check for leaks. You want to check for leaks before you even start it. And then of course after that I got to put the data in the tune and then flash it in. Okay guys, so now it's time to input the injector data that we got from DeatschWerks into my tune. So what I did, okay, this is a tune that I was running. I just called it 2025 tune. I made a copy of it. You want to keep this one just in case something goes wrong. I made a copy and I called it 2025 tune with new injectors. So I'm going to open that up, and then we go under engine, and then we go under fuel, and we want general. And this area right here is where we're going to put in the data. So we're going to start with flow rate versus KPA. And another thing too, the only things you change in here is what you've been given data for, and everything else stays stock. So anyway, we're going to start with flow rate versus KPA. So we'll open that up. And you can see here that the factory injectors are rated at 28.7 pounds per hour. And it goes up from there as the manifold vacuum increases. Okay, so now what we want to do is go into the information we got from DeatschWerks. We want to look for manifold vacuum versus KPA. So we'll scroll down through here. Okay, here it is, manifold vacuum versus KPA right here. This is for the LS1, and it's 0 to 80. Okay, so we'll highlight this and we'll copy all these labels right here. Copy. Then we'll go over to our tune. We'll paste them in. So now you see that it's 54.3 pounds per hour, all the way up to 59.5. Now these were rated, as I mentioned earlier, at 42 pounds per hour, but that was at like 43, 44 PSI. And these LS1s are supposed to run at 58, so that's why that increases. So it's actually a 54 pound per hour injector that I'm putting in. Okay, so we change that. Injector flow rate modifier versus battery voltage. Okay, that's all at 1. That means it's not used. So we can skip that one. Now, minimum injector pulse. Okay, so that goes from 0 to 8,000. So we want to find that in our chart. Minimum pulse right here. And it goes from 0 to 8,000, I believe. Yeah. So we want to copy these. We'll go over to our tune. We'll paste this in. Okay, so we got that one. Default injector pulse. They don't have a listing for that, so we'll just leave that stock. Now, offsets versus volts versus vacuum. So that goes from 0 to 80 KPA, and then in volts it goes clear to 18. So we want to find the one that matches that. Okay, so here's the chart we want. It's 0 to 80 KPA to 18 volts. Now just to give you an idea, the differences, the LS2 is different. It's got minus 80, and it goes all the way to 80, whereas mine starts at 0 to 80. This one here has got more numbers in it, and it goes all the way to 20.5 volts. The LS3 it's different again. So they're all different. So you got to make sure you grab the right one. In this case, we want the LS1, which is 0 to 80 kPa, and it goes from 0 to 18 volts. So we want to copy all this, paste. There we go. And it doesn't hurt to go and double check, like just check that number and that number to make sure that you got it. Okay, so next, short pulse limit. They don't have anything in there, so we're going to leave that stock. Short pulse adder, they do have that one, so we'll go over to the data again. Short pulse adder right there. So that goes from 0 to 4.1018. Okay, we're just going to make sure. We'll double check this, make sure it's the same. And it is. So we're going to copy that. And again, you want to just go over and make sure you get everything right. So we'll look at these and then we'll double check it. I think that might be it. So I'm just going to go back and double check, make sure I get everything. Okay guys, so it looks like we got everything that they had there, so this should do it. Now, some of them will give you a short pulse limit. They'll give you that, but DeatschWerks didn't give that, so we'll just leave that stock. So we'll just save this and then we'll flash it in the car. Okay, so I'm getting ready to flash the tune in, but you got to turn the ignition on before you can flash it in. So I'm going to cycle the fuel pump a couple times and then we'll go look, see if there's any leaks. Okay, there's 1, 2. Okay. You want to check each injector. Just if it's leaking, that pressure should show. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on that side. Okay, I'd say we're good so far. Okay, so I got my tune ready to go in. We'll just turn on the ignition. We'll hit right tune. We'll hit right. Okay guys, we are all set up for the first start. Okay guys, so I got it sitting here idling, and seems to be running about the same as it used to as far as air fuel ratio goes. I'm gonna recheck it for leaks, and maybe we'll do a little tuning for this video. This video is already getting pretty long, so I don't want to do too much. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can explain this a little better than I have in past videos. I probably won't. I'm not that good at this, but anyway. So anyway, when you're gonna tune a car, you're gonna have a base tune, and what you're gonna want to do is make 2 copies of it. One is for MAF tuning, and one is for speed density tuning. And all 3 of these tunes are going to be identical, with a couple exceptions. One, you're going to remove a little bit of timing out of both the MAF and the SD tuning, just because you're tuning it and you want it to be safe. And 2, there's a couple changes that has to be made on both them tunes. And I'm not going to go into detail on how to do it. I'm just going to put a link to 2 videos on how to do it. So basically what's going to happen when you're speed density tuning, when that tune's in the car, it's going to run completely off the volumetric efficiency tables. That's how it's going to do all its fueling. It's going to ignore the mass air meter, and it's going to ignore the factory O2s. And by doing that, you tune that table in, and when you get done, it should be able to run off that SD, off that speed density tune, off the volumetric efficiency table, It should be able to run off that, and it still be right. The fuel ratio should be right where you want them to be. Then the MAF tuning. Basically what it does is it does all the fueling calculations off the mass air meter reading. It ignores the speed density tables, and it ignores the factory O2s. And when you get it dialed in, it can run off that MAF, the mass air meter only, and still be right where you want it to be. And then you take the numbers you get from there and you put it into your base tune, or the tune you're using, and then the base tune will use everything. It'll look at the MAF, it'll look at the speed density, it'll look at the factory O2s, and you should have it dialed right in, right where it needs to be. So what we're going to do here now is I'm gonna load the speed density tune in the car, and we're just gonna do some idle tuning right now, and just so you have an idea what I'm doing. And anyway, we'll go out of this. We'll what we're gonna do is put that speed density tune in. Okay, so I got the tune all flashed in. Now we're gonna open up the scanner. Okay, so this here is what I use just for when I'm just driving around, just to keep an eye, just to have an idea what's going on. But when you're actually tuning, you got to set up a different table, and those videos that I'm going to put in the link, they'll explain how to do it. So I'm going to go in here, and I want right there 2002 SD tuning, and see how it changes here. And this is what we're after, is the error right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the car up, but I'm not going to start the scanner until the wideband comes online, and that's the most important thing. You got to have a good wideband. So anyway, we'll start the car up. We'll connect, but we're not going to record until the wideband comes online. Right now it's not. It's got to heat up. Okay, now it's working, and it's really lean. So we'll hit record. When it starts recording numbers, it'd be, yeah, like it's really lean right now. So even when you got all the injector information, it appears that you still got to do some tuning. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the editor. I'm going to load that SD tune in again. Go in under engine, airflow, main VE table. Then we're going to go over here to the information we got. We're going to copy. Then we're going to go back to the tune. I'm going to highlight it, and then we're going to paste special. Multiply by half. Multiply by half, that way you don't overshoot. And we're going to save that and flash it in again. I got the tune reflashed in. We'll start her up again. Like before, we can't start the scanner until the wideband comes online. Okay, now we can start recording. Now, you notice now it's a lot better than what it was. Now it's only 3% lean, I'm assuming. Yeah. So just that one try, it's better than what it was. It's still lean. Okay. So anyway, you can see that it's better. So what I got to do is I got to do this a whole bunch of times, and I got to actually take the car out and just drive it, vary the load and stuff like that. And then once this is done, I got to do the mass air meter, which is quite a bit easier. It doesn't take nearly as long. But I got other videos on the channel showing how to do it. Anyway, guys, I hope this video helped somebody out, and I guess we'll catch you in the next one.